Welcome to a special Casting Confidential episode recorded live earlier this year at the Gasparilla International Film Festival in Tampa, Florida. I'm your host, Rose Rosen, and for this episode, I was joined by an incredible panel of casting pros, all right together in person. That's Cheryl Louden Kubin, Robin Carus, and Kimberly Skyrme. Interesting note, this was the first time all of us actually were together in person, so it was really special for us. And a big thank you goes out to Gasparilla International Film Festival and Film Tampa Bay for inviting us to be part of this amazing event. In this episode, we're diving deep into how to hire a casting director for your indie film and what to look for, how the process works, and the ways the right casting director can elevate your project from good to unforgettable. And yes, we'll spill a few behind the scenes secrets you won't hear anywhere else. We love sharing these conversations, and we're available for speaking engagements at festivals, universities, or anywhere you want to help your audience understand the casting process better. Whether you're an indie filmmaker, an actor, or just curious about what happens behind the scenes, this one's packed with insight you can use right now. Let's get started. Looking to land your next big role? Casting Networks is where more high-quality roles are booked than any other casting service. With an annual membership, you'll unlock every tool you need to stand out. Unlimited headshots and reels, submission tracking, even the chance to link your socials and showcase your personal brand. On the go, the Casting Network's iOS app makes it easy to find and submit to roles anytime, anywhere. Right now, Casting Confidential listeners get $65 off an annual membership. Just use code CONFIDENTIAL at checkout or try it free for 14 days. Head to castingnetworks.com/confidential and get ready to get noticed. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Hey, actors. Need a reader but don't have anyone around? Or maybe your friend's on the way and you want to get a head start and run it a few times on your own? Check out Raffi, the app that scans your sides, lets you pick from over 60 voices to read with, and has an optional teleprompter built right in. It works in multiple languages, and there's a web version too if you prefer using your computer. Whether you're rehearsing, memorizing, or recording a self-tape, Raffi gives you the flexibility to do it all on your own time. Try it now at raffi.app. That's RAFY.app. And check the show notes for a 10% discount code. You'll thank me later. And with that, let's jump right into today's show.
Let's go.
Welcome to Casting Confidential live at the Gasparilla International Film Festival. I'm your host, Rose Rosen. And with me today are casting directors Kimberly Skyrme from Washington, D.C., Robin Carus from New York, and Cheryl Louden Kubin from Atlanta. Today, yes! Yeah. This is our first live in-person podcast, and we're so excited to be here at the Gasparilla International Film Festival. Thank you for having us. And today, we like to do a topic in each of our podcasts. So today, we're going to chat about indie films and how do you collaborate with casting directors. And so I thought it was appropriate that we talk about this today in light of that we're at a film festival. We're in a position, and always have been, where we don't use a lot of casting directors because we don't know how to use casting. So we're here to tell you. I am, first and foremost, I think, put it in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Yes.
Which
Kimberly can
usually,
speak more on
also
that.
Being a producer, because I'm a multi-hyphenate, like lots of folks in the audience today, so right there with you. But I feel a lot of times that I am brought on as a casting director in the beginning of an independent film, and they don't even have casting in the budget. So they have to go back and redo the budget. You have to steal money from everywhere else. It should be just added in the budget from the get-go. And again, also being an independent filmmaker, everybody's comment is quintessential, but I have to spend the majority of my money of what's on the screen. Well, guess what? The actors are on screen, and we are the people who help you find the best actors for your show. So really, casting is a very important line item that you should have for on screen.
Like Kimberly, and we were actually talking about this last night, a lot of us are brought in right when there's a panic moment. Why have the panic moment? I love neuroses like any good New Yorker, but I still feel like it's an important thing. It's such to have the actors that you need is such an important thing. And the idea that I think that we come with not only our ideas with whom we have in our stable, but also we are an entryway to agents and managers that you might not have at your disposal. And it's really important. And the idea that could you? Yes, you could. It is altogether possible. Why wouldn't you work with an actor who is represented? Very important, and we have really great relationships with all of these people on, you name the region and you name the coast. A lot of us work on projects coast to coast. And so why not?
And it also gives you, as a filmmaker, the credibility because you have somebody who's been in the business, who has a resume, who's done all of that before, presenting on your behalf. A lot of times I will get a call from a producer, first-time producer, and they have no idea what they're doing, right? So I feel like I have to guide them and help them, and I'm fine to do that. It's wonderful. It's a great experience because I know they're going to call me again and again and again.
I love that you reminded me of that point, Cheryl, because I cast a film 3 years ago now, and the filmmaker in Las Vegas, which I don't live in Las Vegas, but was able to meet her on the Clubhouse app. And she specifically remarked that she had help. She actually had a better response to getting money after she had a casting director on because it legitimized her project. So she could go to people, and I was in addition to the crew that she already had. So it did elevate. And I'm happy to elevate if I can.
I mean, it always does. And just remember that at least your first call to us is free. So call don't call me. You call anybody. Call any of these gals. Call anybody in the CSA. We're all members of the CSA. It's a good organization. It's something like the Screen Actors Guild. Like, it gives you a little bit of a filter as to who that casting director is. Just the same thing with an actor. That doesn't mean I don't hire non-union actors all day long, because I do.
Me too.
But if you wanted a little bit of a filter, that's something good. But make the call. And all right, so here's another thing we should talk about is like how does that call come out to, where am I going with this? Completely lost my train of thought.
How does that call come out to us?
Yes.
So
yes. What are we doing?
A producer director will call and say, hey, I have this script. I want to shoot in Atlanta or wherever, and I'm looking for funding, and I need to attach a talent, which is like the toughest thing to do. It really is if you have no money.
Lightning in a bottle. Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's and so I will always say, send me the script because I like to read the script, and then maybe there's something I can do for you in that. It has happened, right? I mean, we hear about it all the time, but it's very difficult to do because for me to call an agent to say, hey, I have this wonderful script for your actor, they're all about the money, really. They want to make sure, okay, do you have an offer? Is it funded? Show me proof of funds. It's a very difficult kind of catch-22 because they can't get the funding until they have somebody attached, and then nobody wants to be attached until they have the funding. So it's a very precarious situation, but we do that a lot. It's very difficult.
And there are agents, even the ones, I'll call them the better agents, that when we are asking for these things, do they give us a hard time right back? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And so we're like, there's failure in this one. But we kind of go back and go back and go back. And so we're a little bit like punching bags. And so we like the abuse. Let's do it.
Yeah, and if we can get the actor to read the script, but that, there's a little roadblock there that they will not send it to because they don't want to waste their time, right? But sometimes if an actor really, really loves the script, then that's easy. Yes, I'll attach myself to this. You can use my name. In one instance, I think we paid an actor, a name actor, like $5,000 to be able to list his name on IMDb so that we could then go for other actors as well. And it just, it helped the process along a little bit.
So as actors, I think it's important that you guys kind of scale your business, right? So you want to be with CAA, but you've not done much. That's a silly thought. Like, really think about the right agent for you.
And it's a stepping stone.
Right.
Too.
Yeah. And you'll one day be with CAA, whatever. Not that that's going to do better for you.
But stepping stone agencies are wonderful.
Great.
And
Yeah.
these are the people that we work with every day, all day. And so there's no shame, no crime, etc. And those stepping stone agencies, they do get you places, which is why they are stepping stones. Do you need to be CAA or UTA? No. You can still get into films, independent feature or otherwise. You can still become a recurring on a TV show. All of this is altogether possible. And I think people don't realize that if they are not with one of those very ultra good agencies, will I ever work? The answer is absolutely 100%, because if you don't work, they don't work.
Breakdowns go out pretty wide.
Yeah.
I mean, we click a few buttons and they go to
Everybody.
hundreds.
The billboard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They go to you as well,
Yeah.
directly on Actors Access,
But
and you want to get your footage too. So
Right.
how are you going to do that? You're going to start small and work your way up.
Right.
But to loop back to the attaching talent to your film for the filmmakers in the house, that it is very difficult, obviously, if there is no money. However, again, it comes back to, by having a casting director as a creative collaborator, there are relationships that we do have that are not going to be, getting Tom Hanks in your $300,000 movie, but we may know other people that we can, because of our working relationships with them, actually present scripts to them. So those personal relationships, so important. If the only thing you take away today is it's a relationship business, so start your relationships with key creative people as soon as you can.
And get some development funds. So we're not taking questions yet. But at the end we will. But so that's the thing. You can come at us and say, here's a script and I love it and I have no money and I have no time frame on when I'm shooting it. It makes it a little too difficult for casting. So you really, the things before you talk to us, if you can, at least get some development funds, right? And the road to getting the rest of the money, right? And that way people feel a little better. Not enough if it's not fully funded, but because those are the words they use, fully funded.
Well, and if you don't have money, what you absolutely must have is time. Because you're giving us time to fit
Right.
it in between other things, time for us to, I always have a fleet of interns, time for me to organize having an intern help on that independent film project. Maybe they'll do the first pass at all the pictures and then I will come in and just consult with them. But if you don't give us time, it's really difficult to pull a rabbit out of our hat.
And then, if you want, you need to, economize your days, right? So really look at that script and say, okay, I want Tom Hanks. Can I have him for one day? Maybe that's doable. It's probably not, let's be clear. But
Maybe.
but there are name talent that would come in for, X amount of dollars and we can work on that for you. So, but that's the thing. But if you're like, I have this scene and then this scene, and I don't know how those two are scheduled together, right? This is no good. So, if I need, a talent and I've economized it down to 3 days altogether, or maybe 2 days and then one overnight and then one more day, that makes more sense. It's more economical. So these things are so important. You guys remember that you're business people on top of being artists, right? And don't ever forget that, because ultimately we're trying to make a product that makes money, right?
It's film business, not
It
film
is.
hobby.
It is. Yeah. You had something?
Sure, I have things.
Robin always has things.
I always have things. Okay, so let's say there's not a celebrity in the film, right? Is it still possible? Is it still going to be good? I had a film that I was working on, and it started off and there were ideas of grandeur that it was going to be SAG-AFTRA with all of these, with all these big, potentially big named talents that were in it. It was going to film in Massachusetts, in Springfield, and which is not Boston, but still a lovely city nonetheless. And there were some talent with name recognition that were from Springfield, and they thought, how cool would it be to get them in? Well, when funding wasn't what funding was, because life in the arts, so basically it became non-union. What happens when you pivot, right? It's you kind of sigh a lot, and then you say, okay, after the heart attack happens and I have to repurpose the breakdown that I put out and explain to the agents why we're not SAG. So then you go forth and it's non-union. And the truth is, again, this is why we're such handy dandy people, because again, we have this stable of developmental actors. We'll call them developmental. And we also can easily access from the stable of agents and managers that we have and say, look, it changed. So now who's in
The mix now.
the mix in your boat.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it. And you still get the quality product because, well, we're amazing. And this is what we do. We make amazing things happen.
Well, I think just on that point, because you did mention SAG, it is important to mention also that nobody should be expected to know all the rules and regulations. And I will speak for myself on this one because I just love to learn things. But by having a casting director, if you're a new producer, they can help you navigate through a project that you're working on. A recent film that I finished shooting, I was the casting director and was quickly then asked to come onto the producing team because they were just in over their heads. They had only shot shorts. They had no idea how to navigate the SAG paperwork. And you can do it. I think people get afraid of it, but there is a contract for every budget level. So it's worth doing it. They certainly will also help you out, but having a casting director to help you navigate some of that is also really important and advantageous to the filmmaker.
Also, it allows you to cast non-union actors. Don't think that a union contract means that you have to have a full union crew, or we could talk a lot about that.
Yeah, some of the teeny tiny contracts will allow you to have that one name person that you want, and you can do a hybrid and have some people that are not in the union, and they're also not first to join, and it doesn't become a requirement for them with that.
Right. There's paperwork called Taft-Hartley.
Yeah, and especially like Florida, Georgia, right to work
Easier.
states. I mean,
Virginia
once
also.
you join the union, you're
Virginia,
union. You cannot do non-union, but you are not forced to join the union. You can work 50 productions union and still be non-union in a right to work state.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. I mean, it's so I hate to say, why join the union in a state like that where you can have your cake and eat it too, because
Right.
you can do non-union, you can do union, you can have everything. But
Right.
but once you are union, and a lot of people don't know that, once you join SAG, you are SAG.
That means that you cannot take non-union work.
Correct.
Otherwise, you are scabbing
Legally. Yeah.
legally.
It happens.
You are working off the card, which you're not supposed to do.
However, interesting loophole, because in life there are loopholes. Let's say you are a SAG-AFTRA actor and you decide that you will become financial core. FICOR, we call it sometimes. And so you're able to do that. What does that mean exactly? That means that you are still a SAG-AFTRA actor, though you're giving up your right to vote within the confines of the union. And so
Or hold office.
or hold office within the confines of SAG-AFTRA, not like at your local church or center.
But you still pay dues. Yeah. You pay dues still, right?
So let's get back onto our indie film talk.
Okay.
And let's talk a little bit about why. I mean, let's face it, indie filmmakers are control freaks. Not in a bad way, but in an artistic way. I think some, who shall remain nameless right now, but you guys like to do everything, and for budgetary reasons, sometimes you have to. And so then here's the big question is, why would they want to bring in a different creative mind when they know who they want for their cast and have everything in there? Does anybody have a good answer for that?
Okay. So, yeah. So Kimberly actually said this before, but I'm going to reiterate it. It's the you have a thought, and the thought's perfectly lovely, but then we come in with a loophole that somehow makes it different and sometimes makes it magical. I will also say this, and I'm going to address this to all of you, but in empowerment to, let's say, our friends who are more melanated in the audience. So, white folks. So you will get 1,000,001 Caucasian submissions. And guess what we like to do? We like to throw a wrench in all of that. And we're like, yes, we love you, Caucasian folks, but we also like those with a little bit more melanated skin. We want them in the mix too. And so that's what we do.
Yeah,
Or
or
that's
we
one of the many things we do.
flip the
Many
sex.
roles are for men.
Yeah.
Submit ladies.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yes.
all the time. Yeah,
Yes, all the time.
tiny women.
And also, for those of you who don't really know the definition of an independent filmmaker, it is not attached to a studio. Just to reiterate
Right.
that.
So like literally
and so
everything
that's a
from
lot of
Yeah.
filmmakers.
Yeah.
Yes, A24.
A24
Independent.
does all independence.
House for those 4 people in the house.
Yeah,
Independent
exactly. Neon, huh?
Yeah.
All right, we can talk about it. So Sean Baker pulls in 4 Oscars plus Best Actress award for his recent film Honora, and so he's a quintessential indie filmmaker. I have asked him to be on the show, by the way, and he is welcome to come on at any time. He has not responded, but
he's
just so
busy.
you know. So and I'm really conflicted about the whole thing because Sean takes home 4 Oscars, right? And 1 BAFTA, in addition to many other awards. And it's an interesting film. I don't know who's seen it, but we all have. And his Oscars are for editing, producing, directing, and best film. And his actress, Mikey Madsen, won the best actress. So here he is carrying 4 Oscars. And, I can't help but think we're in a real collaborative industry. And what are we doing here? I just don't understand it. And not for nothing, we're going to have an Oscar for casting next year. And thank you. Thank you. We do deserve it. We've been working on this
Forever.
Long time.
quarter of a century. But it's going to come in 2026. And he took the casting credit, and he did in fact get a BAFTA for casting. That's the British Film Awards. So, and editing, and all these things. So my question to you guys first, and we'll ask the audience later, is what do we think about this? How do we feel about this? I mean, it's great that that we're indie and rogue and doing things, but I don't know.
I just think it comes down to that he wanted ultimate control over everything. This was his baby, and yay, more power to you, right? But who's to say that you can't have somebody helping you by taking that load off of your shoulders and just presenting, people choices.
Yeah.
I also think, if you don't mind me tag teaming, that because we are fighting for the right to exist and make art, right? And as independent filmmakers, the great thing is that most of you start with the people in your stable and you say, friends, join me on my creative journey. And I think that the idea that you would not want to involve as many people as possible on your creative journey and take that, yes, and give everyone work so that people know that we all are here and we all exist. And it's so important. And you have to remember that we exist, you all exist, actors, editors, everyone who does photography on a set. Everyone exists. Everyone's jobs are important. But remember to keep everyone in mind so that everyone has a job and everyone continues to have a job, and that you all matter. You are all possibilities.
I mean, that's it. That's we all need to keep having jobs. I mean, we have the artificial intelligence that's coming in fast and hard, and we'll talk in the future episodes about the future of casting. But this film industry is so collaborative.
Well, filmmaking to make a movie is like a flower blooming, and there's not only one petal on a flower; it's multiple petals and layers and layers and layers of petals. And as somebody who is a multi-hyphenate and is a casting director by first trade, that's what I've been doing for 35 years, and I will never stop. I'm sure I'll be, from my wheelchair still. Are you available on Tuesday for an audition? Because I love it so much, but I also was quickly producing and directing. But even as a director myself, so that I have to be in charge of everything, that as a director who's also a casting director, it would never occur to me to not also bring in a casting director to work with me. I'm not going to remove myself from that job. How could I? You'd be asking me to remove not only my right arm, but my left arm and a leg, I think, because I'd want to be challenged. I would want somebody to challenge me like I challenge them. But I feel that sometimes directors in this, I need to be in control. Being in control is inspiring others to over deliver creativity. That is your true job. So if you're doing every job, you are now taking away from every other job you're doing, because you're diluting the time that you're doing that. And however, then being, kind of that controlling person, I was shooting a sizzle reel for a project. And the producer organized the casting, and I thought, I'm going to be just like a director, and I'm only going to look at what she gives me to look at. I couldn't help myself. I had to go in and view all of the tapes. But then I was thankful I did, because they had 5 people watching all of the tapes. And I saw their list of people they were going to bring. And one of the guys I had on my list was not on their list. So then I said, I have a different list than you. Would you like to see my list? So then we all went back and watched the tapes together. 5 people vetoed one of the actors because the sound in his audition tape was not good. And he was the best actor in the group. So had I not done that, so there is an element of control of wanting to double check, but this was out of creativity and curiosity as a casting director. I could not watch every tape, but I was thankful that I did in the end. And then I was able to educate all of those people, because we watched the tapes together and I showed how dramatically different the 2 takes were. So if ever you can send 2 takes, because we don't say only one, absolutely every actor in house send 2, but make them uniquely different storytelling. And it was because both of them were totally different. Then they were all like, wow, we didn't notice. And it was so important. So we do need to collaborate. And I was trying to collaborate with them in that way. But I think pushing the envelope and being a curious director, I didn't belittle them by not putting them all forward, but I just did the extra work to do it. But
makes
it's important.
a better product.
It does.
It makes a much better product in the end if you have all the
Lots of eyes.
soup.
Lots of eyes.
Yeah.
And you brought up something really interesting. It's the idea of watching a tape. And do we watch everything we get, right? That's a big deal.
Oh my God.
And
People
so-
really think, because they didn't see whether or not we watched it, they think we didn't watch it, and they put all this time in. And we do. I swear.
That's our
Well, we
job.
have to, because one of the
Yes.
girls in that same project I cast, it was only the last few seconds of her second take. Now, had I not watched all of it, in that one little moment, I was like, this is the character I need. Not the first take at all, and
Right.
not the majority of the second one. It was literally
It's
this
so
last
interesting
little moment.
how
I was
it
like,
kind of
she'll get it.
develops.
And
Yeah.
sometimes within those first 5 or 10 seconds, you absolutely fall in love with somebody.
Oh, some people you are.
And that's magic. That's audition magic.
Oh, on that same project, I literally heard the actor's voice. I was busy writing his name, and I was like, "That's the guy." Watch the tapes, and it was him. He was done. I just knew. I heard his voice, and I was like, "It's him."
Well, and if you have a yes, you don't have to watch it to the end.
But I was so intrigued.
But
I
you
watched
can.
both of his tapes to the end.
I mean,
that
it's a
also-
time thing.
Yeah, I'd say that also kind of points out how important it is to have your technical aspect for you as an actor on point, because if they went with
What if it is unskilled person watching, not like a casting director?
exactly yeah, so it's we have to be able to hear you, we have to be able to see you. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to do fade in and fade out. You don't have to
Don't
do
do that.
subtitles and say and tell us what you're auditioning for unless we ask you, which role. But it is in this climate that we're in right now, it is crucial that you have a good tech setup as an actor.
and it's easy. I think it might be time for questions.
I think that's a
Yeah.
great
Yes.
segue.
This is so fun. We get live questions.
First question.
Hi, Vicky Degno. I'm primarily an actor. I have produced and I have directed, and mostly theatrical directing. This is kind of a broad question. With the contraction that we keep hearing about, right? With the slowdown, with the threat of AI, with new threats to regional theaters, funding, with the cost of producing a Broadway show now, et cetera, how are you guys reacting to the changes in the business now and the challenges in the business now? And how are you staying ahead of it?
So the question is, with the way the business is going, how are we keeping afloat? Well, we do a podcast.
Yeah.
To inform people.
And to add that I'm hearing across the board that where casting directors are asked, you were just talking about indie films trying to attach talent, and they're asked to work for free. Am I wrong about that? They're
All
asked to
day
work for
long.
free.
You're not, yeah.
You know,
And I suggest
in the
that that
beginning
messes up the industry.
Yes.
to get funding.
Right.
Right, and I say no. I
Which
mean,
is
that's-
why you really should at that point find a stipend, because again, it's a very
Development
important part
funds.
of your production to have someone attached. So the expectation. Now, it could be a different story if people's first thought was, and I'm giving casting directors points on the back end, but do your homework. How many times has that ever happened? However, it was just offered to me recently, and I thought it was very generous
Yeah.
because they felt that I didn't get my full paycheck on casting their independent film, and they said they wanted to do that. But I certainly pivot because I am a producer. I am busy looking for money. Just told the ladies on the way here, hopefully this money comes through so I can put people to work. So I've been combating it by trying to create the work for others around me.
But Rose and I talk about this all the time, that we've always pivoted. I mean, we went from 3/4 tape to half inch to DVD to CD to, I mean, we've always
What is
pivoted.
that cloud?
And and it's sad. There's no, like, we can all acknowledge the trauma of
Current
our,
state of affairs.
yes, we can all say this is bad. What do we do about it? We just keep going.
Right.
We keep creating.
No other option,
There's-
right?
and
Make it work.
and
We've
even
lived through it
Yes.
so many times, and so have other industries, right? So we're not so special, but we are. But yes, I mean, yeah, it started with COVID, and then it moves to
lest we all
strikes
forget.
and all the things,
Right.
you know. And now it's AI, and you know, and everybody. I go to my friends in Europe, casting directors. They are busy.
Yeah.
You know what they do over there? 50% tax credits. You know what we don't do here? 50% tax credits. So, and
But if you're a
things are
creative
cheaper.
person, you don't stop being creative.
No,
So you just
have
can't
to
stop.
keep doing it. And we've all been in business for years. And and that's the only, so this is not new. Don't think of this as new. Think of it as part of the journey, and you stick with it, and you also know how to make money on the side, and whatever it takes to keep going. It's, you know, if you're a painter, you keep painting. You may not always sell your paintings.
There you go.
Hi guys, so my name is Troy Thomas. I'm a writer, director, non-union actor. So, my question for you guys kind of dived into like stepping stone agencies versus like bigger agencies. So I'm curious, not just as an actor, but as you guys as casting directors, what traits or like qualities do you think makes a good agent in terms of like working with a collaborator?
Okay.
Repeat the question.
Oh,
though.
it's
Just I think
yeah.
it's
So the question, for those that could not hear his very deep voice,
Well done, by
well
the way. I love
done.
that voice.
I want to mimic your voice, but my voice sounds like a Smurf. So, but
Robin.
yeah, Robin Carus. Anyway, okay, in a world. Okay, so basically, the question is, what are traits that you find that are that are good to work with when you're dealing with these stepping stone agencies, and that's the basic gist. So here we go. I think that first of all, when we are putting out breakdowns, right, we want to see creative ideas. It doesn't make a difference if it's a non-union project or a union project. Creative ideas are key. Hopefully they are delivering creative ideas and hopefully not just giving us one person. I just recently worked on a project where I needed X amount of bodies, and I literally got one suggestion, and I said, where's all the other fellas that I needed from your agency? And so hopefully they're doing that. Now, on a personal level, for you all, like for those who are non-union here, hopefully they're doing right by all of you. Hopefully they are sending you out on auditions. Hopefully they are communicating with you on a regular basis, because you want that and you need that and you should have that. For us, it's really simple. The business that we need to do with them are ideas. And then when we are, at that point where we're booking people, then it's sort of like, okay, are you communicative? So we're getting what we need in order to give it back to our producers and all of our teams. So that way they have all of the information they need on you and any other actor from that agency that we are hiring. And that's really it. And so
Let's say that the stepping stone agents are not stepping stones to us. There are daily.
They're established.
They're the ones who we call every single day.
Yes.
Every single day. The CAAs are the ones we actually rarely call because we only need those clients for specific reasons.
And for you, you should have good communication with your agent. You should be able to ask them questions, or be able to ask somebody at the agency questions that you feel like you're being taken care of, that they are submitting you. And you can see on like Actors Access, and I think you can get like a
submission report.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see how often they're submitting you. You should be able to quarterly go in and check with them, and what am I doing? How am I doing? They should be coming to see you in plays if you're in plays. They should be supportive that way.
Also, okay, it's a double-edged sword, and so a lot of actors think that we have time to give feedback, right? And sometimes we are so busy that our minds are gonna we will keel over. But when we have those down times, right, and we can give the feedback to the actor and or to the agent, yes, we will. If again, it's a time thing. So, but if you can get feedback, perfect. And if you can say, just curious, did they give any feedback?
Right.
You
Don't be afraid to ask.
Yes, you can ask them that. And if they're doing their job, they are asking us with the idea that they may or may not hear from us, but they're asking us. And so that's great. So if they report back to you, what we emailed, we didn't hear anything back. And as soon as we do, we will give it to you. Then perfect, right? Then all trains are in alignment, so you're good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great voice.
Saying that over here and over here. Hi.
Hi, I'm Olivia Rose Silver. I'm an actor and I'm currently writing a short film. But a question that is if a casting director already has an idea of what they're looking for, and a bunch of people match what they're looking for, and one person kind of stands out, are they gonna go for that person, or are they gonna look more towards what they were already looking for?
I think that a lot of times directors and even we don't know what we're looking for until you show it to us by creating a very well-rounded character, even if you have one line, by being present in the moment and doing your homework. And I think a lot of times we have somebody in our mind that we know is going to be perfect for this, but we will put out to everybody and see everybody. And sometimes we are very pleasantly surprised.
And those days that we have 5 people that come in that could be perfect, and then we're just sort of depending on where the fickle finger of fate lands.
The buffet.
Oh,
The director, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
so much better.
that's magic. Oh my gosh. Imagine working on a project and you're really trying to figure out who that cast is. And there's 5 people that could be a potential fit. What? Brilliant. So good. That's that is an embarrassment of riches. And those are the days you really are like, yes, I'm so glad I'm doing this. Like, we can go any which way with this project.
And more often than not, that happens. And then we hand them over. And somebody else makes a decision. Because we're not the ultimate choosers, right? That's the director's, producer's job.
And for me, it's always my favorite. Because there's something the writer wrote, there's a vision the director has, and now I'm the third added part of creativity. And 9 times out of 10, when I send the gem, they said that's not what I'm looking for, but it's perfect. So if you,
I mean, there are tricks we do. We'll like front load them, put them at the top of the list.
but as an actor, you do have to keep in mind that's where it's so important to make a unique and interesting choice. And it's an opportunity to showcase your talent in an audition, not get a job. So if all of your energy is focused in the moment, in the here and the now of doing that great audition to make it unique and interesting, and really think harder about the script than just what's on the page. Do the extra work, ask the extra question, so you send in the unique performance. Because it's the role and it's you, and that makes the unique presentation of it. Don't be trying to do what we're looking for. Do what you think is a cool interpretation of the role.
Good question.
I think we have time for one more. Okay.
One more.
Ladies choose.
But we will be in the lobby, so you could ask us questions later for a minute.
Yeah.
Because then we have to go tape again.
I think Diana had her hand up.
Thank you.
I'm making you go all the way across.
That's okay. These people are-
But we'll answer yours after.
Well, we had a few guys, and now we need a few ladies. Got to balance it.
Thank you so much. My name is Diana Durango. I am an actor, and somehow, because of this independent filmmaking, somehow I ended up putting on the other hats because it's so hard, right?
You have to.
Social media has become that evil that we just have to deal with, and it's not like we can go over and just be talent anymore. I've constantly heard people are going to be looking at your social media accounts, and that freaking number, that star meter, drives me nuts. Casting directors, how much do you guys really look at that? How much do you guys really look at our social media accounts? Because it gives me anxiety.
Depends on the job.
Depends on the job.
Yeah.
It really does. I like to say we don't, but and she's asking about social media account, IMDb, star meters, etc. And they can be horrible. But here's the thing: work on it.
Here's the thing too. Sometimes it's not simply about the numbers, but about the content. For example, I worked on a film that eventually went to PureFlix, and we had to make sure that everyone who's social media, clean socials. And that's a really big deal, you know, and there was
Keep it clean.
Yeah. And there was one young woman, and you wouldn't think this is a big deal, but she had a few bikini photos, but PureFlix people don't like that.
Right.
So, you know, and perfectly acceptable because she's on a beach for the love. But at the same time, you know.
So
yeah.
it's actually a business. So don't forget that. And when you're on your socials, and if you need to put other kinds of things, you might want to privatize that.
But I also
yeah,
do have
don't forget.
some directors who will ask, you know, what your
How
social
many?
media, how many followers you have, because they know that they have a built-in audience.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Indie
Yeah.
filmmakers are notorious for asking how many social media
Yeah,
followers.
yeah.
And they put in the deal that they'll repost stuff about the movie. So it is a business relationship.
And that way it could be a marketing situation.
Right.
But it's
Right.
you have
It's
to help
crazy.
out. However, people with very high influencer numbers, just because the audiences love to watch you for 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, they're not watching you in a 90-minute movie. So I personally don't lean into that category because I,
I
don't
mean,
think that
yeah.
subject matter translates.
I mean, the audience now is more interested in influencers than they are in celebrities.
I want you to remember, though, that you are an artist, right? You are an actor, you are an artist. You will continue pursuing your art. You don't have to worry about the numbers, because at the end of the day, you have to deliver great auditions, not great numbers. And so that's it. You concentrate on the art, you make the art, count, you make the auditions count. That's it. It's done.
Well said.
Any closing thoughts, ladies, before I close up?
I think that was perfect.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
However, I will add creativity never retires, so keep doing it.
And we all spread the
Amen.
sparkle. Thanks for joining us today on Casting Confidential. Please don't forget to follow, like, rate 5 stars, and review. It means the world to us. And thank you, Gasparilla Film Festival, for having us here for our first live in-person podcast. Thank you all for being here with us. That's a wrap on today's episode of Casting Confidential. If you're loving the show, here's what you need to do.
Follow us right now on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling inspired, take a minute to leave us a rating and review. It's the best way to help us grow and keep bringing you these behind-the-scenes stories. Join the conversation with us on Instagram at Casting Confidential and drop us your thoughts or questions. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep your craft sharp and your audition sharper. See you back here for another episode of Casting Confidential.
One of the greatest podcasts in television and film with Rose Rosen, CSA, and all the friends. Bringing you Casting Confidential. Casting, that's essential. Casting, so eventful. Turn a tune in the close friends, chillin' with Rose. We call it Casting Confidential. Get a notepad ready, grab a pen and pencil. For magic to jot down, tell a friend too. A wonderful podcast in TV and film, we call it Casting Confidential. Let's go.